I've talked a lot before about how I don't trust gauges, so I want to give a great example. And so this is the HAG metal and single ply gauge. You can see hagglobal.com right there. There's the HAG logo. There used to be a magnet here so that you could tell steel from aluminum, because apparently people can't tell. And so this has bothered me for quite some time. So what thickness is this metal? Now, I have personally gone through with a micrometer and checked every single sample in this kit for thickness. And I verified what finishes on them. 29 gauge doesn't work. Oh, but 28 slides like butter. 29. 28 doesn't even wiggle. 26 kind of wiggles, so it's 24, butter. Except for two things. So that is 24 gauge steel, but that's 26 gauge. So if that's 26 gauge, how come 28 slides like butter down it? So let's try the opposite side. Now you see that, right? 26 gauge. I have verified this is 26 gauge multiple times in a lab. See how it slides in? Man, that's got wiggle room in it. So it's not 26. It's 28. Probably caught it at the one thick part of it too. But that's 28 gauge. Slides like butter. Now, let's move over here. I love doing this every time. Now, this is burnished slate. It has a thicker finish than normal. Now, I want you to look closely at that label there. Not sure if it's even visible. This is supposedly 26 gauge. 29 gauge, wiggle back and forth, no movement. So it should get some movement on 28, but it's not. It gets a little movement on 26, but it's not. It's 24 gauge, according to this gauge. And the reason for that is because it's got a thicker finish on it. And so the metal is typically measured before the finish is applied, which is the way it should be. But this creates some errors when you have a company like HAG, and pretty much every metal gauge I've ever seen has had the same issue, where it'll default say something is 28 when it's actually 26 with a thin finish. Or, alternatively, it goes with the thinnest finish to tell you what's 26, 24, or no finish to tell you what's 26 or 24. And so the moment you get even a cheap G60 coating on it, all of a sudden it's a size bigger than it is. And so this is a micrometer. It starts off at 0 and 0. And this is how you should be measuring metal. You should be measuring it, sliding your piece inside, and tightening it up until you know exactly how thick it is. And then measuring it. This right here actually tells me what I need to know. But if you can make a chart. I haven't seen one in real life in probably 15 years. But you can make your own charts where you calculate the finish thicknesses versus the metal thicknesses, and that's how you should measure it. Measure it within typically about 1/1,000,000th of an inch, if you can. Worst case scenario, you want to go at least to the 100,000ths. And when you measure that, compare it to the chart, and that will tell you how thick your metal is and how thick the coating still is. That is the only way to tell on metal. Anytime I see an insurance carrier, they don't carry these. They won't even let you submit these. Every single time it's this or the garbage from Amazon. I hate to say it, but the garbage from Amazon is even worse.